Hey guys, what's up? Cody Price back with another vlog. And today, I'm gonna talk about Olympic gods. Now, for those who haven't really studied Olympus, there's three eras that we really know that believed in gods. Egyptians, Olympians, and Romans. Now, each god is basically different. For Egypt, they mostly had gods of fortune, or death, or protect, or wisdom. For Greece and Roman, though, they basically have the same gods, but Romans basically named some of theirs after planets and other names. When these gods, they're gonna be the gods that the Greece people have. Okay, so first up we have the god of gods, Zeus. Zeus was king of the hill. He was dominating, powerful, and had a soft spot for women. Don't we all? He could be terrifying when angry. His symbols were the thunderbolts or lightning bolts, made for him by the Cyclops, his uncles, the eagle, and the scepter or rod. So basically, he was the most powerful god ever, and he had a soft spot for pretty women. He's basically the god version of Brock from Pokemon. Brock, use Thunderbolt! Brock! Okay, next is Hades. Hades, or Pluto, was the god of the underworld and of the dead. He was called the same name by Romans, but they also sometimes called him Dis or Dispater. He was Zeus's brother and married Persone. After kidnapping her against her will, he was gloomy and frightening. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. Isn't kidnapping basically where someone takes you somewhere against their will, drags you in a car, and then bam, against your will? That makes sense, right? I'm not going crazy? No? Good. Next god, Poseidon. Next we have Poseidon or Neptune. As Romans called him. He was Zeus's brother, and he was the god of sea and also earthquakes. He often is shown with three-pronged spear called a trident that was made for him by his nephew Hephaestus or a fish. So a fish, chances are a fish might have made him. A fish might have made him. Might have made a trident. But what I really wanted to cover, how can the god of ocean also be the god of an earthquake? A land disaster. It's like Aquaman being able to control land animals and still live underwater. Okay, I'm trying to go through these quick because I tried to do this once before, and I think the video got too long, so I couldn't really. So then it just stopped itself. And I don't want the video to get too long. I want to get all these gods, and there's 14. So many pages, though. Okay. Next is Hera. Our first goddess is Hera. She sits on the right side of Zeus and his wife. Of course, she's his sister too. But that's the way it was on Olympus. Hera's Roman name is Juno, and she's the queen of the gods. She is the guardian of marriage and was well loved by the Greeks. It's kind of sad that she's the goddess of marriage, but her own marriage was so bad. She was often jealous of her husband's girlfriends and did mean things to them, even the ones who didn't want anything to do with him. But she could be tender and loving as well. The peacock was her symbol. In fact, the circles on the peacock's tail were said to be the eyes of her 100-eyed servant Argus. How does a god of marriage have a 100-eyed servant Argus? You think Hades would have that, because he's the god of the underworld, and basically all kinds of demons live there. It's weird. And the weirder thing is, people think it's his eyes are on a peacock. Which today, if you see a peacock open its feathers, you don't think of 100-eyed monster Argus. And why I say monster is, do you really think Argus looks just like a normal human being with 100 eyes all over his body? And even if he was, he'd still be a monster. Damn, the guy probably wouldn't even wear clothes. So, yes, he must be a monster. Because if he wouldn't wear clothes, then he's not a human being. Okay, next is Athena. Next is Athena, or Minerva, the daughter who sprang fully formed from the head of Zeus after a major headache. She is the goddess of wisdom and war, and also the protector and namesake of the city Athens. She preferred reason to violence unless she was pushed. She turns Archon into a spider for bragging that she could spin better than Athena. She was very competitive and is often pictured with her helmet, spear. She carried Zeus' shield called the Aegis. The owl was her bird. Can you see it in her hand? I'm not going to show you the picture because it's like black. See? I'm going to put it closer. You guys could probably barely see anything. You can see her helmet. At least that's what I can see. Or maybe I just... You know, I showed the Wait. I just thought I wasn't going to show the picture, and I did. Oh well. So next is Apollo. Apollo was a twin. His Roman name was the same his Greek name. He was the god of the sun, or light, poetry, music, and medicine, and was famous for his oracles, wise women whom he gave his power to predict and interpret the future. He was very proud and also proactive of his mother and sister. His symbols were a gold bow and arrows. He often appears golden and shining. He wears a laurel wreath in memory of Daphne. Who are these people? Like, all we know are the gods. They just say random names like we know who they are. Have you met anyone who was turned to a spider because they said they could spin better than... Why does she even have to worry about that? She's the... Who cares if she can spin good? She's the god of wisdom and war. And she's very competitive. Actually, I feel like none of those traits do anything with being competitive. But still, come on! Who didn't want to be his lover and prayed to Mother Earth to help escaping him, she was turned into a laurel tree. So she chose being turned, never mind. People don't want to be loved by a god, so be it. But that doesn't mean you go turn yourselves into trees. Just tell them you don't love them. Tell them to F off and leave them. Artemis was Apollo's twin. Her Roman name was Diana.
Cody, there's been 11 hours. No, 1 hour, I meant.
That's a minute, Izzy.
It's been 11.
Apollo. Her Roman name was Diana, and she was the goddess of hunting, chastity, and the moon. Apollo, the god of sun, and apparently Artemis is the god of the moon. Pokemon God of Sun and Moon God Edition. She protects women and small children and fiercely independent and particularly dislikes men. In pictures, she is accompanied by 3 hunting hounds, a bow, and a fawn. Next is Ares. Ares, or as he is known by the Roman name Mars, was a god of war. He would fight on both sides if possible. He was young, strong, handsome, and likes to dress battle clothes even when he wasn't fighting. So, basically, well, that's actually good because at least he's not like a bad guy, and he wouldn't like make one side, like give one side the advantage. Okay, next we have, I'm gonna call him by his Roman name, but it's Poseidon's nephew. Vulcan, which is his Roman name. Vulcan was born lame and was further crippled when his was thrown from Olympus by his mother, Hera. In rage, he was the only Olympian with a disability. He was unhappily married and Aphrodite, and he worked as a blacksmith in the god's forge. Ow, Izzy! You guys enjoyed that? You guys enjoyed that? I hope you did. Thanks for God, Izzy. Ow. Pain.
My elbow went in the
Okay, this is the last page. I really hope I finish this before the video decides to shut itself off again. Okay. Oh, look, it's Aphrodite. Vulcan's wife, Aphrodite, whose Roman name was Venus. It's fun.
I hit it in the middle, in the couch.
So her name was Venus then. Whose Roman name was Venus, the goddess of love and beauty.
Blow my face out.
She was born out of sea foam when the blood of Uranus dropped into the ocean. Uranus. I'm trying not to say it like it sounds like Uranus. Okay, there it is. Uranus. There we go. Uranus dropped into the ocean.
Sounds like
She
it's
was
saying
the mother of
Uranus.
Eros and was interestingly charming, fickly, vain, and competitive. Her symbol was a ketsu, or magic belt, that made everyone fall in love with the wearer.
I see a blow
Sometimes
face out.
she would lend it to humans. This is famous painting of the birth of Venus or Aphrodite by Bud. Izzy!
Sorry, make sure you blow my face out because I don't want people to see me the first time with this.
Izzy, no one even saw your face.
Yeah, if you go back, it did.
I don't know how to blur. Besides, no one's gonna see.
Blood, just put emoji, huh?
Izzy, no one's gonna see you.
Yeah. Somebody saw me just.
I can't even edit this. First part is I can't even edit this out, or you're gonna miss the Aphrodite thing. Okay, Hermes. Hermes or Mercury was the god of science and inventions, but he is best known as the messenger of the gods. He is often pictured with winged helmet and sandals. He is said to have invited the alphabet boxing and gymnastics in this painting by Glitzes. You can see his helmet with wings. He's not wearing his famous sandals though. Hestia. Hestia was Zeus's sister and the goddess of protectress of hearth and home. She is also known by her Roman name Vesta. She was gentle and kind and was very popular with the Greeks. She didn't have a lot of adventures, so she's rarely pictured in art. Two more to go. Dionysus. Dionysus was the parterre of the mountain retreat. He was Zeus's son by another woman who was driven crazy by Hera and her jealousy. Dionysus went all around teaching people how to make wine and having a good time. Eventually, Hestia gave up her throne for him. He lived up on Olympus. He was the god of wine, of course, and also vegetation. For those wine lovers out there, Dionysus is the god for you. And also those vegans, because he's the god of vegetation and wine. Next is Demeter. Demeter was the goddess of the crops and harvest. She is also known as Ceres and sometimes Dio. Her symbols include a torch, a crown, a scepter, and stalks of grain. She was often portrayed with her daughter, Persephone, who was kidnapped by Hades and taken to the underworld. By the time she was rescued, she'd eaten 6 pomegranate seeds, so she couldn't accept the underworld entire. Her mother was so frantic, the winter drapped the land and no crops would grow. A deal was struck and Persephone was allowed to return to her mother for half a year. So each year when she returned to the underworld, fall comes, then winter. But when she returns for her mother, spring and summer come again. So Hades is the reason fall and summer exist. That actually makes sense. Like, Hades did a lot of bad things. At least he's... Imagine. To be fair, they probably just wanted a good reason to why there's winter and fall. So anyway, that's all the gods. So if you guys like this video, thumbs up, subscribe, and make sure to put down in the comment sections which one was your favorite god. And to make sure you remember, I will read all their names out. Okay. You ready? So the gods are Zeus, Hera, Poseidon, Hades, Athena, Apollo, Artemis, Aphrodite, Hermes, Eris, Vincent. Wait, is it Vincent? Wait, no, it's not. Vulcan. Okay, so Vulcan, Hestia, Demeter, Dionysus. So remember, put your favorite god in the comment section. That's all for this video. This is Cody, signing off. Bye-bye.